Hey everyone, this is Jasmine. I'm a Reiki practitioner and also a counselor in training. My Instagram handle is Pluto Alchemist, and if you would like to find out more about me or what I do, I'm gonna leave my details below so you can check them out. My new cup from Tonya. Anyway, today is gonna be a casual chat. Probably gonna be a vlog because I haven't really got any material prepared, and also I had been sick over the weekend. Some sore throat, some flu going on, but I've got a huge sense that it is trying to force me to rest because I have been busy with a number of things. I've been going through my Reiki teacher training. I have been busy with my application for my school for the postgrad diploma. I have been putting my words out there to get in counseling clients, and also I have been doing Reiki facial. So it has been a lot. At the same time, I'm also managing my social media, and I have to say it actually takes up a lot more of my time than I was expecting it to. So I kind of just fell sick. I kind of took an off day, the whole of Saturday at least, without working on anything. I was really groggy and I just rested and I really just slept. Even though that has been a voice behind at the back of my mind of you know what, you have a long whole list of to-do list, you can't afford to take this rest, yada yada. Anyway, it's just something that I have to work through. So anyway, if you know how to read energy, I'm probably not in the best of frequency of vibration right now. Something kind of just spooked me earlier. So to share this personal story, I was still recovering from that flu or from that sore throat. Wasn't really very centered or energized, so in my pretty groggy state, I went into a cafeteria nearby. I ordered myself a drink, my usual iced tea that I love so much, and then I ordered myself a pie at this new cafeteria that just opened up in the neighborhood. I put on a show, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I know I'm late to the game, but anyway, I'm really enjoying it right now. So I was minding my own business, and there was this lady who just kept staring at me. It was really uncomfortable, especially for you empaths out there. I know that I could have just ignored it, but I couldn't, because even when I'm not looking at her, I can feel this dagger energy just directed at me. I mean, it's not uncommon because even myself, I find myself staring at some people sometimes. Maybe because they're beautiful, maybe because they're special, maybe because I'm just drawn to their energy. Again, I'm not saying me, I'm just saying that myself, when I'm drawn to somebody else, it could be mindless, or it could be my eyes just landed on someone while my mind was somewhere else. It's pretty common for me. At the same time, when that person look up straight at me, I would have noticed shit. Oh no, I have been staring at that person mindlessly, and I would have that little bit of embarrassing moment, and then I will turn my gaze somewhere else and then continue in my own la la land. So that didn't happen for that woman. So what happened usually for me is, given the benefit of the doubt, when somebody stares at me, I'll just give them two looks to let them know that, hey, I know that you are staring at me. Politely let them know without vocalizing anything. So it was I stare at her. She continued to stare at me without any smile. It was really a dagger stare. It was a death stare. I don't know how to explain it better to you, but it was really a death-threatening stare. I look at her, I look away because it was so uncomfortable. I picked up at her again, and she was still staring at me. That went on for at least a good half a minute. I became very self-conscious. I started to ask myself, did I do anything wrong? Did I know her from somewhere else? And maybe did I offend her previously or whatever that I had not noticed? I don't know. I went through all of this thing in my mind, wondering what did I do wrong, and if I'm able to correct it. Was I blocking somebody else that I wasn't aware of, and that's why the judgy look from her? And I'm no, this is getting really uncomfortable, and she's unwilling to let it go. So I did something that I usually wouldn't do. My previous response, my flight mechanism would have just kicked in. I would actually, clumsily carry my bag, phone, my drink, and even my pie, and then I'll just shift somewhere else to make myself feel safer and to make myself feel comfortable. But I feel it's all of this time that I have been working through myself, that I let go also somewhat of standing firm in my ground, but at the same time, my curiosity just couldn't hold it in anymore because she wouldn't let that go. So I gently took off my earpiece. Again, I have to emphasize, I was not confrontational. I was genuinely curious at this point. I looked straight at her. I mean, since she's already looking at me, so I don't have to like call out her attention. And I said this, like, I noticed that you have been staring at me. Is there anything wrong? And again, if let's say she has been mindlessly staring at me, I would have known from her reaction. Maybe I would have taken a few seconds more to get her attention, but no, she was already staring straight at me. Her attention was already placed at me. And then she said this, why? Singapore is a free country. I can stare wherever I want. And I was like, okay. I got like from her, the way that she speak, her undertone and her reaction, she was already in the defensive mode. She was pretty confrontational and she did not even flinch when I was calling out for her attention, which means that her attention is already on me. And I'm like, okay, again, I feel like the undertone is that I have offended her in some way. She's judging me for certain things. I still didn't get the answer to satisfy my curiosity. So I like, okay, got you. And then I raised my earphone and put it back on. That's where, at the corner of my eyes, I was staring at her. Her micro behavior was that she was so ready to fight with me. I saw her like coming forward towards me and she opened her mouth. And then I said okay, and I put on back my earpiece, which I believe it was not what she was expecting. So she did this. She was like, and then she kept quiet because I wasn't actually gonna fight with her. So that was fun. That was a fun morning. Anyway, this is not the first time I have met aggressive people like that. I'm also aware that not everybody have been in situations like that before. And again, I really believe in law of attraction, law of vibration, law of mirroring, however you want to call it. So definitely that's some frequency or some vibration in me that actually attract certain people into my life that can be pretty confrontational, scares the crap out of me sometimes. And also looking at my extended family, my relatives, I'm not even surprised I have that vibration in me. So, but anyway, I was also reflecting. I think my people pleaser mode just kicked in. How can I hide myself even further? Maybe I don't know, should become more invisible. I should be more quieter. Do not put on makeup. Do not dress up in order to not gain attention like this. I don't know. Again, I'm not implying that I'm pretty. I'm not implying something about my looks. It's more of like, you know what? I shouldn't be so loud so that people would not take notice of me, so that I, would avoid being judged or things like that. Thinking that being judged, whenever I'm on the receiving end of being judged, I am in the wrong. I mean, being a line 5 of human design, I have been receiving such projections my whole life. So, I mean, to just have a wild guess, I do not know the lady from earlier, and even if so, at the very least, she would have voiced us like, hey, I saw you before, which, me initiating that conversation, it could have been an invitation for her to speak up if, let's say, there's any dissatisfaction with me. But no, I don't think that we saw each other before from somewhere. But basically line 5 of human design is that you will either project and judge a lot on other people, and you will receive the same from others, which I have been my whole life, and I have been still learning from this, like learning how to manage my projection, to actually more of understanding the projection, for my own journey, understanding of myself, and especially understanding of how projections itself, how it ever works. And funnily enough, so I actually wrote all of this up and then I posted it on my Instagram, and I have got tons of responses from a lot of my friends, which was fun. There will be simple and typical responses like, just ignore her, move away, don't bask yourself in such energy, like, you're just trying to enjoy your afternoon. You don't have to subject yourself to such scrutiny from this lady. And actually I've been schooled by some people, which was fun, and also it made me recall back to how I was like in the past. Because when we first understood law of attraction, vibration, or mirroring, we will know that there's something in me, in all of us that actually draw certain circumstances into our life, there is different line of questioning that you can ask yourself. Like, for example, the lady was mean to me for no reason. You can ask yourself questions like, have I ever been mean to somebody else for no reason? It can also be like, hey, how did the person make me feel? Maybe in this case, I do feel a bit fearful, I feel a bit scared, frightened, timid, self-conscious, and I can ask like, why did somebody's judgment or somebody else's scrutiny like this make me become more self-conscious? Is there like a part of me that I should work on? Yeah, I've been asked by a couple of people about this, which kind of like implies there's just something in me that I need to work on. But I've learned the very hard way, I would say, because when I first started to understand this concept, this is how I treat other people as well. And I'll go like, hey, if you really want to fix this, if you really want to make it go away, I think you should take a good hard look at this part of you, or like, is there anything in the past that actually still makes you hold on to this vibration? And then I learned the very hard way that it doesn't work like that, in the sense of like, when you always go into this state, having that framework running in the background, there is a tendency to fix and think that there is something wrong with you. Maybe you want to be more evolved, maybe you want to be less affected, maybe however it may show up for you, wanting it to go away may not just be the healthiest, because I realized that by jumping into this mode, straight away it could imply that I hate this current situation, I just want to make it go away just like that. Number two, you hate whatever emotions is coming out right now, and then you are not providing a safe space for whatever emotions is coming out right now. I always like to be strong, I always like to feel like I've got it all together. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get bullied. Sometimes I get outcast, which I have had a number of experiences like that since I was growing up, since in my last previous jobs and stuff like that. So yeah, I learned that you learn to manage it better. It doesn't mean that fixing your vibration can make it go away just like that. And number two, instead of looking to fix it, especially I'm talking about right at the moment, or just like moments after it happened, this is the period where you get triggered the most, and this is the period where you feel all of the vulnerable emotions the most. So the best what you can do for yourself, even if sometimes it's about bitching about the other person, I do get responses from my friend which are really very funny. Like, thank you if you try to comfort me like that, saying like, oh, you're too gorgeous, she's just envious, she's just projecting something onto you, she thinks that you're a threat, yada yada. Again, I don't know if that is true, but on some part of it, it forms a story like that in my head. I may feel just safe enough for the moment, that's fine. I mean, in the spiritual world and even in mental health, because we take non-judgmental so far off that we think that we cannot afford to be bitchy, we cannot afford to be angry, and the only way that we can be like a saint or like enlightened or like awakened is that you have none of these emotions, and then you just chase after that, and the next thing you know, you are suppressing all of these emotions. It doesn't make you a saint, it just makes you suppress them. So again, I'm human. I can be bitchy sometimes, I can be pretty angry sometimes, especially this is exactly what I needed at the moment to keep myself safe. So like what I always say, all emotions are welcome. This is a safe and non-judgmental space when you are with me and when I'm holding space for you. So when I hold space for another person, the first thing I'll look out for is that person still triggered from that event? Is that person still have emotions residue that still feels very activated from that certain event or that certain experience? And if so, that will be my priority, providing a safe space for that part, and to ensure that I do not go into judging and then suppressing that part all over again. Not saying that law of mirroring, law of attraction, and the line of questioning that you ask yourself of things like, hey, what is in me that actually attracts certain people into my life, and then working on it. Not saying that it's wrong entirely, but the priority should always be providing a safe space and allowing the other person to emotionally regulate when the person is still feeling activated. Yes, sorry for being so long-winded, that was the point I was trying to say. Because I've met so many coaches, people who are like being trained, who actually jump into this mode like almost straight away. To be honest, if I were to choose that, without all of this framework, without all of the coaching framework, psychological framework, spiritual framework, I would still prioritize providing a safe space, and which is why I feel like the person-centered therapy will be the approach I choose to go for if let's say I were given a choice to only choose one approach. So anyway, if if let's say a person who has kind of calmed down already feels safe enough with the experience and safe enough in the here and now, and if you want to help the person integrate or process or like really learn from the lesson or the experience, then I will go there like, hey, just to explore a little bit further, how does the person make you feel at that point of time? Do you have like a similar incident in the past that actually, brought up the same emotions all over again? Only after the person has properly emotionally regulated, ready to do such integration or learning from the experience, so to say. I don't know how many of you can resonate with that. This is probably the counselor trained in me talking. So if you're more of like seeking support, seeking help, rather than being a safe holder for now, you may or may not resonate with this as much. But, just let it be a seed planted in the background and see where this takes you. So thank you for watching. This is Jasmine. I'm a Reiki and counseling training, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.